Nick Mccampbell here. I work for Smart Top Bullfrog Spas Honda, and this is Justin Hill's CRF450. So starting at the front of the bike, I'll start at the bottom. We're sponsored by Nissan this year. I believe we're kind of the first team they've done a sponsorship venture with, really. So we go through them for all our brakes. We're running the same front caliper and hanger and everything as the factory guys are over there. Our rotors are stock, and we run the stock size too. So it's not like we have to go shopping around for that or anything. No, we don't modify them at all ourselves. We get them just straight from Nissan. The front ones are coated. It's a full works front brake. The pistons are bigger. It moves a lot more fluid than a stock setup would. Little coatings on them. We coat our front stock hubs to match our works rears, and then we just run a works spoke with that and a DID Dirt Star rim. Dunlop tires as always. We don't switch up front tires much. He sticks to the same thing all the time. Patrick Carbon Customs, Brownsburg, Indiana. Yeah, Danica Patrick's dad. He's been making our covers for a few years now. Does a good job. It's a nice 2-mount bolt system. It's nice and easy, lightweight. They last a long time. Nice whole batch of those every fall coming in from him. As far as suspension goes, we're on a works program with Showa, so that's all one-off stuff. Each guy's stuff's a little different. It's all the same level of stuff, just different settings. He runs his forks more dropped out, and then along with a lower back end too, so a little more choppered out, if you will. Front axle stock hardware, steel bolts all through the front end, triple clamps and everything. We run a red clamp on the bike. We run the ones with the slits in them for a little more flex and different things like that. The guys swear by them, so we run them. Yeah, Malcolm is running a stabilizer from Showa, as opposed to Vince and Justin here are not. Stock front brake line. Our master cylinder up top's a little bit different. It's from an older model Honda. It pushes a bit more fluid. Arc Bob's giving us hookups on the levers. Cable clutch. Bar settings pretty neutral. We run 3mm risers on them. Renthal 996s. Runs them in the center position, so nothing's real crazy as far as super far forward or back. On the bar mount clamps, the rubbers are medium compound in it. He's running the medium compound grip as opposed to the soft half waffle the other guys are running. He's the only guy on the team with that. He's the only guy with the grip donuts. I think part of that might be he runs a little harder grip. We don't cut the crossbar or anything. A lot of guys like to on the twin walls. We run a Pro Circuit throttle tube. We run a metal one, aluminum. Works connection gets us off the line. A ring and button, so we've been using those for a few years now. Off the grate, our guys like to go deep. He's on the more shallow side. He's the most shallow of our guys. Vince and Malcolm are both deeper on the button. That's part of the works connection kit actually on the Hondas, so you're not tearing up your stock fork guard or whatever. Covered triple clamps and stuff, kind of moving more toward the center of the bike. We don't run anything different fuel tank wise. We run a stock fuel tank. We send our radiators off to ICW. We get crossbars put in them along with 45s on each of the corners, and don't really have any issues with those, especially like Malcolm's a big guy. He'll bend stock ones just riding the bike, and most of these guys will in Supercross. So you need it with or without crashes. You need them. Otherwise you're going through them that much quicker. We actually run stock hoses. Got a pretty good budget with Honda and a good deal going with them. So radiator cap, we run a 1.6. In the past we've tried some higher rated ones, and we've kind of found this is our balance point. The meat and potatoes, the motor, the power plant. Chad's been doing our motors for a long time over here. XPR engines, he does a great job. He does the mapping for us too. We run a Vortex ECU, so he rips through those things and keeps motors fresh for us. He does the Cerakoting on them too. He's pretty proud of that. We think it looks nice, kind of go for more of a gray look. Yeah, it holds up a lot longer than some of the other coatings will. We tap our water pump spout just to make sure that Y fitting doesn't come out. In the case of a mud race, for the most part, is typically why we do that. Yeah, we run a different breather hose in stock also. Plug off our airbox. The stock hose just runs in the airbox, and these bikes get real hot, so we just figure keep the air as cool as we can back there. Chad will come to Salt Lake or Vegas or anywhere we're at elevation, Denver, the laptop, and he can do things on the fly there, and he can put a little telemetry on the bike. And we switch our relay fuses out to a 20 amp from a 10. Yeah, we run stock skid plates. It's a flex thing, right? You put carbon stuff or aluminum, it starts adding rigidity to the bike, and the plastic ones stock flex a lot. They're easier to mount up, they're nice. So they also have wings for the airbox covers. You could actually, I think on the European bikes they sell them, so there's a part number for those too, if that's one way you wanted to go. Recluse clutches, we're kind of on the heaviest setting that you're gonna go to without going toward hydraulic. That's kind of, we're right on the edge of that. We run a longer clutch arm. All three guys are running that now. so helps with starts and helps with feel on the track, because they do run the heavier springs in them. He is never going to tell you to meter the power. He likes to twist it. He doesn't use his clutch a lot coming out of corners, so he wants it to be right on demand on throttle, so they can dump it and go hit a 3 out of a corner or whatever they need to do. Start maps, we have them available to us. Chad always has them on hand, and he works with the guys on them kind of on request. This year, none of our guys are going that direction right now. They're all just, you know, using the feel. Last year in the past, Vince has used it, and I think JB went back and forth with it a little bit, but no one's using start maps right now. We run a forged throttle body on them, brake pedals, things like that go. We run stock controls down low. Malcolm's on a half tooth different for a position, but we run stock. He runs it a tooth up from the stock position, a little higher than the other guys do. We run pro pegs from Moto Stuff. Those things are nice. They stay sharp a long time. Titanium. No, we're actually running stock hardware on the peg mounts and the pins. Stock hardware through most of the chassis components. As far as motor mounts and stuff, Justin's on a bigger top hanger than the other guys. Everyone's on the same bottom one, but Justin runs a bigger hole in his top one, a little more flex, because he does run a rather stiff suspension setting. Plays hand in hand together. Yeah, all our big stuff, our motor mount bolts, subframe bolts in my case, linkage, shock, all that stuff. We typically try and stick with stock. Flex components is kind of Tony's big thing, and this is our only guy with a cut subframe right now, -10 from stock. Other guys are running stock subframes, so his bike's, you know, a little lower in the back. We run the Ride Engineering lowering link there too. Been on that for a few years also. Most of the guys, I think Malcolm might be on a stock Ride nowadays. But yeah, from Ride we run the clutch cable holder also, and we also run red brake clevis on the other side. Our rear brake system is pretty much all stock. Cerakoted our master cylinders and our calipers, and then works connection caps on both our brake systems. But we just kind of did it more for look, something a little different, keep it snazzy looking. Rear shock is a works shock from Showa, but Kaz does our suspension from Showa. Guy's a wizard, he's always on it, so he travels with us every weekend too. Yeah, we'll talk about the gearing a little bit. First off, we run a DID chain, works chain. Very heavy duty press fit, no master link. That's big for us. A lot of torque going to the rear wheel on these Hondas, so we try and keep all of that as beefed up as we can. We run stock chain guides. Our bottom one we got to trim up and shorten up a little bit, because we do have that pizza cutter on the back end. We're on a 1453 gearing, so yeah, we went big on both ends, and the guys like that. The 14, the way it affects the chassis and everything with the motor characteristics. But yeah, the sprockets are made by PBI. They kind of specialize in Baja 1000 kind of stuff, so strong, beefy, real pointy too. It's a sharper sprocket just as you get it straight out of the package. It's kind of got a tall point on it, and it's real deep, so it kind of grabs the teeth a little differently than some other ones we've used in the past. Rear wheels in a pretty neutral spot on the swing arm, stock swing arm. We run stock axle blocks. It stays nice a long time, it looks clean, and you're not dealing with jumping through hoops for anything. I don't really know where he decided that, but he's never asked me to put it on the side panels, so we don't run it. But we do like the grip tape, the 3M stuff. Yeah, a lot of people are running that this year actually. Like, a lot of people are running the gray stuff. It's a little more rubbery than other grip tape. That's kind of why guys go to that instead of the black stuff. It's less like a skateboard and more like kind of what you'd have on a ladder or something like that. Softer, doesn't destroy your boots. Got seat covers. He's not picky at all. He hasn't been. A couple rides on and everything to break it in is usually kind of where guys like it. So if I have something brand new, if we have press day, we're usually good to go. So break it in, throw it on the practice bike for a day if you had to. But he's not real picky on stuff like that, as long as everything's set up the same way every time. Fresh suspension, new subframe, new this, that, you name it. He's pretty good within a lap or two. He's like, feels like home. We modify the undersides of our seats a little bit just for stability. When they're seat hopping stuff, it has a tendency to want to just pull the top of the bike apart from itself, and you can just have your seats wear out quicker. So run some little tabs down there just to give a little more longevity out of our seat bases. Pro Filter hooks us up with, they got their thinner single-use filters, which are nice for Supercross season, because we're building bikes so quick and then we're jumping on a plane right after, so it's nice to be able to just throw one in, and I don't got to oil one up every week. We've been on for a couple years now, but same cage as stock, same wing nut as stock. Guys did some testing this off season and Kropovich on the bike. Chad did a lot of work with that and just matching it to the engine package, and he's on the dyno all the time. Just a little bit of mapping that kind of made it with whatever ideas he's had going on the last few years with the Honda power plant. Something a little different on Hondas that you don't see everywhere. All three of our guys actually typically run a 110. little better in the ruts, a little better in the whoops, feel like they can get in and out of corners a little better. Moto Graphics does the graphics on our bikes. That's a Motoconcepts company. We got some different red drilled out aluminum fasteners and washers and collars for the radiators and the tank. IRP hooked us up with some different little red aluminum pieces, just shave a little weight here and there because we do use so much stock hardware that we try and save a little weight when we can, just trim things up. And stock wiring harness also. Yeah, we're running MR Pro 6 from VP Racing Fuels. Pretty much exclusively run that. We don't switch anything up on that front. Bikes take the same fuel every time. There's no changing that for conditions or anything. If it's super hot out, we try and keep it cold as we can. We've actually got a little washer that we get that's got a hole in it. It's got a little tab with a hole in it that we can just string it through. So that way if you're doing motor swaps or something, you don't got to do a new brake snake around that hanger tab every time. So yeah, we're always running brake snakes. Doesn't matter if you're in the desert or not, or never know when a big rock or another bike or a tough block is going to reach up and try and yank that thing around. So